In July 2019, the Marine Corps MADIS system, the Marine Air Defense Integrated System, strapped to the deck of the USS Boxer, killed an Iranian drone for the cost of a tank of gas. The 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit had seconds to respond as the hostile aircraft closed to within 1,000 yards in the Strait of Hormuz. What happened next didn't involve a $1 million missile. No Patriot battery, no Sea Sparrow intercept. Instead, a Marine operating the light MADIS on its Polaris M-Razor platform pressed a button, and the Iranian drone dropped out of the sky. Cost to the American taxpayer? About $30 in electricity. That engagement changed how the Pentagon thinks about drone warfare. Because here's the uncomfortable truth the military doesn't advertise.
The employment guidelines we use for normal low-altitude air defense, and then they integrate actually very well with counter-UAS as well, such as how to scan the sky for enemy aircraft, except instead of a Russian Hind, it's a DJI Phantom off the shelf, which is a lot smaller, but the same principle applies.
America has been bleeding money trying to shoot down cheap drones. We've used multi-million-dollar missiles against $2,000 quadcopters. We've scrambled $100 million fighter jets to chase hobby store aircraft. The math doesn't work, but what if there was a system designed specifically to solve this problem? Something mobile, networked, and cheap enough to actually make sense. The Marine Corps built exactly that under General David Berger's Force Design 2030. As of December 2024, MADIS reached full operational capability with the 3rd Low Altitude Air Defense Battalion. Today, we're going inside the system that's rewriting the rules of drone defense, how it works with Gator radar networks, why it matters for Pacific strategy, and how it could determine whether American forces survive the opening hours of a war with China. The age of cheap drones demands cheap kills. This is how the Marines plan to deliver them. For years, military planners faced an impossible equation. Small drones, the kind ISIS was dropping grenades from, the kind Iran was using for reconnaissance, are almost invisible to conventional radar. They fly low, they fly slow, and they have radar cross-sections the size of a bird. Traditional air defense systems weren't built for this. Patriot missiles, designed to intercept ballistic missiles traveling at Mach 5. Shooting one at a DJI quadcopter is like using a sledgehammer to kill a mosquito, if the sledgehammer cost over $2 million. So, the military improvised. By 2020, U.S. Central Command had deployed dozens of experimental counter-drone systems in theater. None of them talked to each other. None integrated with Gator radar networks. None were standardized. It was chaos. And then came the bigger problem. Remember this detail. It becomes critical later. While America was scrambling to stop hobby drones in Syria, China was building something far more dangerous: autonomous swarm technology. Their Type 076 amphibious assault ship completed sea trials in 2024, equipped with drone swarm capabilities that can deploy hundreds of loitering munitions simultaneously. That's not some distant concept anymore. That capability is operational right now. The Marine Corps saw this coming. In 2013, watching ISIS weaponize commercial drones, they recognized a fundamental shift in warfare. Small, cheap, and expendable was beating large, expensive, and sophisticated. But here's what most people don't realize. The Marines had essentially no mobile air defense capability. They'd retired their Avenger systems in the mid-2000s. Their low-altitude air defense battalions were running around with shoulder-fired Stingers and praying for the best. So they asked a question that seems obvious in retrospect, but was actually revolutionary.
Right now, our main counter-air threat, whether it's a drone, aircraft, like air-breathing target, is a shoulder-fired missile. So we're developing both kinetic and non-kinetic capabilities that can counter that at a much lower cost and more effectively at a greater range, higher probability of hit, kill, etc.
What if we built a system specifically designed to kill cheap drones cheaply? Not a modified missile battery, not a repurposed naval weapon, something purpose-built for the drone threat, mobile enough to move with Marine units, networked enough to share targeting data with Common Aviation Command and Control System across the battle space, and economical enough that we wouldn't go bankrupt using it. The answer came in 2 vehicles that work as a team, and the technology they chose wasn't fancy. It was brutally practical. But here's where it gets interesting. The same system that costs pennies to operate can also kill helicopters, cruise missiles, and manned aircraft. And it integrates seamlessly with the medium-range intercept capability for 3-tiered air defense. To understand why MADIS matters, you need to understand what happened to American air defense after the Cold War. In 1991, the Army had short-range air defense battalions attached to every division. Avengers, linebackers, stingers everywhere. The assumption was simple. If you're fighting a peer adversary, the sky is contested.
The radars and sensors that are a part of MADIS, and make sure that all of that data is being fused in a coherent manner and displayed to the Marine Corps operators so they can execute their missions.
Then we won, and we kept winning, against enemies with no air forces. By 2003, the Pentagon started asking uncomfortable questions. Why maintain expensive air defense units when we own the sky? Those soldiers could be infantry. Those budgets could fund other priorities. So the Army downsized. Bradley linebackers were divested. Avenger battalions moved to the National Guard. The doctrine essentially became, the Air Force will handle it. But here's what they missed. Drones don't care about air superiority. A teenager with a $500 quadcopter and a grenade can threaten $1 billion base. And when you've spent 20 years optimizing for counterinsurgency, you wake up one day to find that your adversaries have been optimizing for something else entirely. The Marine Corps felt this gap acutely. General David Berger's Force Design 2030, their roadmap for fighting China, envisions small units scattered across Pacific Islands, operating inside the enemy's weapons engagement zone. No carrier air cover, no Patriot batteries, just Marines and whatever they can carry. Those Marines need protection that moves with them. That's the first requirement. The second is even more challenging. The Pacific isn't like the Middle East. You can't just park a radar system and wait. You need to shoot, scoot, and set up again before the enemy can target your position. You need systems that fit in V-22 Ospreys and CH-53 helicopters. You need layered defense without layered logistics. Integrating L-MADIS, MADIS, and Medium-Range Intercept Capability systems. The Marine Corps spent years iterating through prototypes. The light MADIS on the Polaris M-Razor platform, those systems that killed the Iranian drone, proved the concept. But they needed something heavier, something with missiles, not just jammers. So they built MADIS on the Joint Light Tactical Vehicle, the same platform they're already using everywhere. Same supply chain, same maintenance, same training pipeline. And then something unexpected happened. The system they built for stopping drones turned out to be genuinely dangerous to manned aircraft too. Let's break down exactly what MADIS does, because the engineering is genuinely clever. The system operates as a two-vehicle section, working with Gator radar networks. Think of it like a hunter-killer team. The Mark II vehicle is the sensor node. It carries the RPS-42 radar from DRS Rada Technologies, an electronically scanned array specifically designed to detect small radar cross-sections. We're talking about tracking objects at altitudes from 30 to 30,000 feet, at ranges out to 30 kilometers. That's the magic, finding threats that traditional radars simply miss. But radar alone isn't enough. The Mark II also carries electronic warfare equipment, the Modi 2 system from Sierra Nevada Corporation. This is where that Iranian drone kill happened. Instead of shooting a missile, you jam the drone's control link or spoof its GPS. The aircraft just falls out of the sky. Now, most people think this is all you need, but actually, it gets better. The Mark I vehicle is the killer, and this is where MADIS becomes genuinely lethal. Mounted on a Kongsberg Defense and Aerospace remote weapon station, you've got an XM9 1430mm autocannon with airburst ammunition. You've got 4 Stinger missiles for targets beyond gun range. And you've got electro-optical sensors from Lockheed Martin for positive identification before engagement. Wait, it gets worse for the enemy. The two vehicles share targeting data in real time through the Common Aviation Command and Control System. The Mark II finds and tracks. The Mark I kills. But here's the real capability. Multiple MADIS sections can network together with Gator radars, creating an integrated air defense picture across an entire operational area. One Marine can operate both vehicles. The system can engage targets while the vehicles are moving. And because it's mounted on JLTVs, it can go anywhere the Marine Corps can go, including aboard ship. Let me show you what this looks like in practice. December 2024. The Marine Corps fielded the first production MADIS systems to Colonel John Lehane's 3rd Low Altitude Air Defense Battalion in Hawaii. Then, in January 2025, they conducted the first live-fire exercise at Pohakaloa Training Area. Targets: small unmanned aircraft simulating enemy drones. Results: multiple intercepts, both kinetic and electronic. 3 months later, those same systems deployed to the Philippines for Balikatan 2025. the largest joint exercise in the region. And here's the real kicker. They integrated with Nemesis, the Navy Marine Expeditionary Ship Interdiction System that carries anti-ship missiles, creating a unified sensor shooter network. Think about what that means operationally. A small Marine unit on a Philippine island can now defend itself against Chinese drones while simultaneously threatening Chinese warships with long-range missiles. That's the Force Design 2030 concept made real. Distributed lethality backed by distributed defense. But here's what they didn't tell you about the cost equation. Using the electronic warfare suite to kill a drone costs essentially nothing, just electricity. Using the 30mm cannon costs a few $100s per engagement. Even the Stinger, while costing tens of thousands per shot, remains far more economical than high-end alternatives. Compare that to what the Navy has been doing, shooting rolling airframe missiles, which cost nearly $1 million each, at drones costing a fraction of that. With MADIS, the math finally works. And the system isn't static. The Marine Corps is already planning Increment 1 Block 2, which will add improved capabilities against one-way attack drones. The Shahed-type systems Iran has been flooding into conflicts from Ukraine to the Red Sea. This integrates with the Medium-Range Intercept Capability to create three-tiered air defense. In December 2025, the Marines fielded additional MADIS systems to the 1st Low-Altitude Air Defense Battalion, also based in Hawaii. That's not a demonstration anymore. That's operational capability in exactly the theater where it matters most. The approved acquisition objective? 190 MADIS systems through 2035, covering all LAAD battalions and the new Marine littoral regiments. The drone problem isn't going away, but now the Marines have an answer that actually scales. The strategic implications extend far beyond just killing drones. China is watching this very carefully. The People's Liberation Army has been practicing drone swarm attacks in exercises since 2021. Their concept is simple. Overwhelm defenses with quantity. Saturate the target with more threats than it can engage. Against traditional air defense, that strategy works. A Patriot battery can only track so many targets and carry so many missiles. But MADIS changes the calculus. Electronic warfare doesn't run out of ammunition. A 30mm cannon carries hundreds of rounds. And when you network multiple systems together with Gator radars and the Common Aviation Command and Control System, you create overlapping fields of fire that are genuinely difficult to penetrate. Here's what Beijing has to consider now. Those Marine littoral regiments scattered across the first island chain aren't defenseless targets anymore. They're hardened nodes that can both absorb punishment and dish it out. Taking them offline means fighting through integrated air defense, and every drone you lose getting there is a drone you can't use against Taiwan itself. And honestly, the psychological effect matters too.
It can happen here in a safe environment, in a test environment, where we can document them and fix them for the future so they won't happen in real life when it matters life and death.
For years, American forces in the Middle East operated under constant drone harassment. Iranian-backed militias could surveil bases, adjust mortar fire, and occasionally score devastating hits, like the January 2024 attack in Jordan that killed 3 American service members at Tower 22. MADIS doesn't eliminate that threat entirely, but it gives commanders options they didn't have before. Instead of hoping a drone goes away, they can kill it. Instead of restricting operations because the sky isn't clear, they can clear it themselves. There's also a coalition warfare angle worth considering. The Philippines is developing its own coastal defense strategy. MADIS gives American forces the ability to train alongside Filipino Marines, using systems that actually work against the threats they'll face. That shared capability builds interoperability in ways that briefings simply can't. The lesson from Ukraine is crystal clear. You cannot fight a modern war without counter-drone capability. The side that can't suppress enemy drones loses situational awareness, loses artillery accuracy, loses the ability to maneuver. The Marine Corps isn't just preparing for that war. As of 2025, they're ready to fight it with integrated MADIS, Gator, and medium-range intercept capability systems. So where does this go from here? The immediate future is about scale. The Marine Corps needs to field enough MADIS systems to cover every forward deployed unit that might face drone threats. That's a lot of vehicles and a lot of training, but the longer-term evolution is more interesting. The Marines are already exploring directed energy weapons for counter-drone applications.
Some of these vendors, and I've never seen a test team come together this quick to accomplish our end goal, which is get through our tests so we can field this system to the Marines.
Lasers that can engage targets for pennies per shot. high-powered microwaves that can fry drone electronics at range. The technology exists. The challenge is packaging it for expeditionary operations and integrating it with existing Gator and Common Aviation Command and Control System networks. And then there's the autonomy question. When you're facing swarms of hundreds of drones, humans can't process targeting data fast enough. The future of counter-drone warfare almost certainly involves AI-assisted engagement, systems that can detect, classify, and engage threats faster than any operator could. MADIS is the foundation, the building block. It proves the concept that mobile, networked, affordable air defense can work in expeditionary environments when integrated with medium-range intercept capability and other systems. Remember that Marine from the 11th Marine Expeditionary Unit sitting in that Polaris M Razor in the Strait of Hormuz? The one who killed an Iranian drone for the cost of a tank of gas? That engagement happened because someone at the Marine Corps recognized a simple truth. The drone revolution wasn't coming. It was already here, and the only way to survive it was to build systems that made economic sense at scale. 6 years later, the Marines have exactly that. A system that moves with them, networks seamlessly with Gator radars, and kills threats that their predecessors couldn't even detect. The age of cheap drones demands cheap kills, and MADIS delivers. If you learned something from this video, hit subscribe and turn on notifications, because we're covering more systems that are changing how America fights. And drop a comment. What counter-drone technology do you want us to cover next?